Hello, Saber Form. Manroon here with the much begged for video review of my latest purchase from Ultrasabers. This is the Ultrasabers Arbiter, which I picked up at Wondercon just on Saturday in person. Very cool experience. Ultra and the guys were great. Got to meet Ultra, Deep. Saw a couple other members of the staff there with him, and it was pretty darn cool. So they built this for me at the con. A nice full body length for you. This saber is loaded with all the bells and whistles except, of course, for an AV switch. I couldn't quite make a choice on it, and just wound up not ordering one. But I got everything else with it. So this time I'm mostly going to let the saber itself do the talking. As you can see, I got the standard version, and has the grenade grip. First grenade grip saber I've managed to get my hands on, and I really like that. It's comfortable. It's not at all sharp. Nice feel, you know, and it grips very well. The ridged grip on the lower section is also very nice. It fits well in the hand and is much more comfortable than I thought looking at it online. It's actually a very comfortable saber to wield, and of course it has the Wondercon Pommel on it, which is standard. And all I can really say about that is it's the silver version instead of the regular black and silver that I have on my other sabers. And it's still one of my favorite designs. My overall favorite, actually. It just has great resonance, sounds really good. And here for comparison purposes is, of course, my Bellicose, which you all recognize, which does have an AV switch and Obsidian, but none of the other bells and whistles. No flash on clash, or no bezel for the AV switch. It's before all those luxury accommodations you new kids are used to. So just to give you a little rundown, here is the Bellicose with a sound font I sort of cobbled together myself for it out of various other sound fonts. And as you can see, very loud. It's filming a little blue, but that is consular green. And it has a full-length blade. I actually ordered the Arbiter with an initiate blade because I needed one that I could practice with indoors. And it has been very nice to that end thus far. That's the regular Obsidian in consular green, so you can get a feel for the volume and everything in comparison to what I'm about to turn on, which is a different color. And I've never actually, one of the few things I've never played with on the Bellicose is I've never changed the volume. I've messed around with the sensitivity a little bit, but you know, the impact and swing sensitivities, I've played with those a little, but I've never tweaked volume. And I think when Ultrasabers was putting the Arbiter together at the con, because of all the background noise of the convention, I have a theory that when they put it together, they loaded it with a louder than normal volume setting. And you will definitely hear that in a second. So here you go. Sentinel Yellow. It is every bit as wonderful as Com is always telling everybody, and as you can hear, it is a little louder than what you were listening to a second ago. It's actually blocking out the background music. And normal Obsidian volume is pretty loud and just fine in and of itself, but this is much louder. It blew my mind. I didn't notice how loud it was at the convention, but when I turned it on again when I got home, and it you know, I almost hurt my own ears with it. But here is Sentinel Yellow in a initiate blade. This is made from the standard mid-grade blade stock. So it's bright, it's pretty darn evenly lit. Spidey actually said he was jealous of how even mine comes out in the shorter blade, because of course with a longer blade it gets a little bit dimmer towards the tip, but it is actually, it films pretty white, but it is much more yellow in person. And depending on the angle you look at it from, it will actually change color. Right here looks more red on the camera if you look along the edges of it, but it's actually more gold at this angle, a little more orange to it. This way has kind of a green tint around the edges that just looks white on camera. Oh, and while I'm at this angle, another nice feature I like about the Arbiter is on the emitter. It's kind of hard to tell. You could see it for a second earlier, but there are these little dots here around the emitter that are machined-in holes, which I don't really know exactly what they do for reflecting light and base flare, but I like them. They look pretty cool when it's lit up, and I think it's a neat feature. It adds a little bit more realism to the emitter. So a couple other points before I move along with the special features this has. That of course the Arbiter is pretty long. You look on the site, I believe it says it's 14 inches. I haven't actually measured mine, but there's the Bellicose, which everybody knows is one of the longest sabers US makes. And the Arbiter outdoes it. There's the top of the emitter, and the Arbiter's about an inch longer. So for usable space, it's actually another 2 inches longer than the Bellicose is, because, I mean, nobody holds it above the emitter. So, but anyways, it's definitely interesting wielding something where the blade and the hilt are almost the same length. I really feel like it should be a staff, but I like it. It gives you an interesting balance. It maneuvers very quick, very sharp, and you get a lot of control having the short blade and the long hilt. But anyways, to get back to the other features, sort of the special thing that I've been bragging to everybody about, that I'm the only one that has this, is I was the first guy to order an Arbiter in Sentinel Yellow, and with Flash on Clash, and I set the Flash on Clash up, as I'll show you in a second, with Fire Orange. And what happened there was I couldn't make up my mind at the show. I had originally decided on a Dagon Silver. Then I thought maybe Fire Orange would look better, and I kept bouncing back and forth. And I finally asked, I finally asked Deep what he thought. And we got to talking about what would be more subtle, what would be more notable, and when it actually went off. And I honestly cannot remember exactly what my original decision was at this point, if I finally picked silver or orange or what. But when I went to pick the thing back up 2 hours later, Deep brought it out and told me that they went with the choice and put it to Fire Orange Flash on Clash. And it looks absolutely incredible. And I will show that to you right now. So, here we go. And it's going to strobe here. And the camera really doesn't do that justice, but it does give you a fair idea. And here's just a comparison of Sentinel Yellow in a standard Initiate blade against a standard heavy grade blade of Consular Green. So again, green looks much more blue on camera, and yellow looks much more white, but if you get in there, you can kind of tell a little bit of the difference. You can see what I was talking about, a little bit of the green that kind of shows up when it's next to green. It seems to pop out a little bit more, but if I get in close, you can see that's a little bit closer to the actual color of Sentinel Yellow on camera now. This is actually matching up pretty close with how it really looks. And so you can see it's an interesting color. Of course, in person it's much, much brighter than this. but it also has a pretty good, if I can get it to trigger, flash on clash without the having to do the lockup. So there you go. And there you have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I have, and if you're on the fence about getting one, I definitely recommend it. It's a great hilt, a lot of fun, and also it's totally MHS compatible. You may or may not have noticed that on the site, but you can take the pommel off and switch it out, you can take the emitter off and switch it out, and the grenade grip is actually fully MHS as well, so you can pull that off and switch it for another piece. The only thing is that the MLS unit actually sits about here, so if you do take this piece off, you're going to need another extension that you can put there in its place to put the MLS in, because you can tell the border for the between the two pieces is literally right there, and there is no room between the switch and the threads to try and put the MLS unit. You just can't fit it there. But the other bonus I noticed about this is the first time I had to switch the batteries out and started playing around with all the pieces, because it's MHS, who can resist, is that this saber is built with a lot more slack in the wiring than my Bellicose was. And I actually had an issue on the Bellicose once where I was in a rush and shook the battery pack out too fast and too hard and snapped a wire. Totally my fault. But it's still a bummer. Did get it repaired. My dad did that, and he knows wiring. If you know wiring, it's not too difficult to fix. The main problem is the wires are short. That's the tricky part. So there's not a lot to work with. But the Arbiter, having been built at the con, and also I believe because of, look at it, it's a beast. It is 14 inches long, and it's all MHS. So it needed the slack to be put together, I think. And I like that because that means when I go to pull the battery pack out, there's enough slack, it actually comes all the way out, and I don't have to worry about accidentally snapping a wire. Because the Bellicose, the top of the battery pack would come out to right here, and that's about it. And the Arbiter, I can pull it all the way out to the bottom of where the pommel would be and not have stress on the wires, and I'm okay. So I do like that. I don't know if that may have something to do with not having an AV switch in it. I'm not sure. But I think it's the overall length of the hilt. Just they put in a little bit of extra wiring because they had the space, and I like that. So, anyways, there you have it, and hope you enjoyed. Thank you, and see you around the forums, guys.